Hey everyone, it's Jacqueline at Pixie Dust PhD. Happy spring, happy baseball season. Today is April 11th, 2023. That makes this the month 38 creator update. I've had a pretty hectic last month with work projects, and then I took some time off to go on vacation, which was awesome, not Disney related at all, but very much needed. That being said, I've been way more offline than usual. I just haven't had the time to sort of scroll through the news. But despite that, we still will go through some relevant theme park news that I found noteworthy. And then, of course, we will do stats, analytics, and revenue for this month, as well as lifetime of the channel. Stay tuned. Like I said, we just pretty recently got back from vacation. We took a week and a half or so, maybe even a little longer, out to Italy. It was awesome, but I am post-vacation very tired. I'm that kind of person that needs a vacation from vacation. So if I seem low energy, sorry about that. And I know my voice is hoarse with the air quality on airplanes not being great, and the air quality out in Milan is also, it's not terrible, but it's not great. So my body suffered a bit. But anyway, let's get into that theme park news. We'll start first with one bit of Universal news that I'm really excited about. Well, that's a lie. I'm not super excited about the news, but I'm excited about the potential. So it was announced that Poseidon's Fury is going to close on May 10th, I believe. This is an attraction. It's like a walkthrough and a show attraction at Islands of Adventure. I think I've only done this once or twice. It's been closed a lot when I've been down there recently, and I don't spend as much time at Universal as I do Disney usually. I really liked it though. It was cool. I'm sad to hear that it's going away, but if they're closing Poseidon's Fury, then they have that whole Lost Continent area, which is pretty huge. So they could make a really cool new land. I have no idea what it might be, but I'm excited to see what the future brings. Over to Disneyland, Rogers the Musical will premiere in the Hyperion Theater at DCA on June 30th. For those of you who don't follow Marvel super closely, Rogers the Musical was like a fun gag that was in one of the Marvel shows on Disney+. I believe it was in Hawkeye. The idea being that post-Endgame, the Avengers were, so famous and popular that someone made a Broadway show about them called Rogers the Musical. I'm not the hugest Marvel fan, but I would go see this if I was out there, and I think it'll do wonders in sucking crowds in, so that's exciting. Disneyland also announced the After Dark Throwback Night events. These will be on April 18th and 20th. Tickets start at $129. This is a hard ticket after hours event like we would have over at Walt Disney World, but these tend to be highly themed out in Disneyland. I think the most recent one was a princess themed one that looked awesome. Someday when I live on the West Coast, much closer to Disneyland, I definitely want to try to go to a couple of these after hours events. Star Tours is getting a facelift, so you will travel to new destinations sometime in the future. This will happen at Star Tours, I believe, all over. So Disney World, Disneyland in California, and I think Disneyland Paris. I don't ride Star Tours. It makes me super motion sick, but I'm happy to see it get the update. Disney Cruise Line announced that the Disneyband Plus will now work on cruises. So this is MagicBand Plus, but then they have to call it Disneyband Plus when you're on seas. I'm guessing there's probably some copyright issues or something. But anyway, if you have a MagicBand Plus from Disneyland or Walt Disney World, that will work on the cruise line. And it will do similar functions. It's going to open your door, you can charge back to your folio on it, stuff like that. I'm surprised it took the cruise line this long to do it because they've had the MagicBand technology for a while in general, and other cruise lines like Princess has had their medallion for several years, so this is kind of long overdue. I'm sure it's very exciting for DCL folks though. But worth noting, similar to Disneyland, your MagicBand Plus as a Disneyband Plus will work, but the 1.0 and 2.0 versions of the MagicBand will not work. And even though you'll have your Disneyband Plus on you on the cruise, when you leave to go to ports, you're still going to need to bring your physical Key to the World card. I'm going to break Disney Vacation Club news up into a couple sections, so we'll start with some, we'll move to Disney World, and then we'll come back to Disney Vacation Club. For Disney Vacation Club out in Disneyland, a new member lounge is opening. This is called the Starview Station Lounge, and it will open on April 19th. Just like the Epcot member lounge, you still have to have valid theme park entry and all of that. And similarly, my understanding is it'll have, soda, water, small snacks, that kind of stuff. A place to rest, relax, and recharge your devices. DVC announced that their member cruise booking will be on April 22nd. So there's two member cruises. There's one proper member cruise and one sort of less real member cruise. The real member cruise is in May 2024. It is on the Dream, and you will be traveling in the Mediterranean. That is exclusively for DVC members. And that's going to come with all the usual perks of a DVC member cruise. I've not been on one, but if you've watched other content creators that have covered that, you get a lot of swag. There's a ridiculous amount of gifts. The second less real, in my opinion, member cruise is going to be the following month in June. It will sail to the Caribbean. This will be on the Magic, and notably you will get to go to Castaway Cay and the new private port of Lighthouse Point. From what I can tell in the fine print, this cruise will not have all of those swag bag member extras, so it's not quite the same member cruise that you may be used to thinking about. But if you are interested in either of those and you qualify, again, bookings open on April 22nd. I do think you will have to call member services to book. Next up, it appears that the minimum point buy-in for brand new DVC members has decreased to 100 points. So if you do not own any DVC contract, you don't have any DVC points, there has traditionally been a minimum number of points they require you to buy if you're buying directly through Disney to buy in. More recently, it's been 150 points, and this has now dropped to 100 points, at least for the resorts that are currently on sale. At times in the past, it's been a really high amount, actually, I think over 200 points, because they were trying to get people to buy bigger contracts. Presumably to lessen the strain of the number of members that exist trying to use their points to book, especially to book those studios. But in recent years, there's been a really big focus on increasing the number of studios. For example, if you look at the Poly and the Grand Flow, Disneyland Tower is also going to have more studios than usual, so maybe they're not so worried about the small points anymore. There definitely is a rhyme and reason to why they changed the new member buy-in, but it's never so clear-cut or obviously explained to the consumer. That being said, even though you can buy in as a new member at 100 points now, you still don't qualify for membership extras until you hit 150 direct points. And if you already are a member, these minimums don't really apply to you. For example, I'm a resale member. I didn't buy directly through Disney, and I only have 90 points. That was my first and is my only contract. I was able to get a number smaller than 150 because I bought it on the resale market, not directly through Disney. But now I am a member, so if I wanted to do an add-on, say 25 points of the Grand Floridian, that wouldn't be a problem. 25 points generally is the minimum amount that they let you buy, and newer resorts sometimes have higher minimums, but once you're a member, these new member buy-in minimums don't apply to you is the point. But anyway, I think that's really exciting news for folks who are not yet members, looking to buy, want to buy direct, but don't want the full 150 points. 100 points is a lot more reasonable, and presumably the upcoming sale of the Disneyland DVC Tower may have something to do with that. We still haven't seen points charts, but you could imagine 150 points in a studio is going to probably be 6-ish nights. I don't know, 4 to 6, 4 to 7. We'll find out. But anyway, it's going to be more than just a weekend. And Disneyland's not Disney World, right? I think they have the data to know probably people don't spend a full week in a row at Disneyland. They're not going to need the 150, 250 points to do that. So for all those studios, for the various amounts of 2-night stays, a lower minimum may make sense. We'll come back to the Disneyland DVC Tower in a minute. Before we do though, let's talk about Walt Disney World news. I'm sure there's been a lot, but the biggest thing in my opinion, and the only thing I really want to highlight, is that annual passes are coming back on sale. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think this might be the first time in years. They halted selling them sometime post-pandemic, and then they've just not been on sale. Well, that's probably not totally true. I think the lowest version for Florida residents only has come back on sale more often than the others, but for out-of-state folks, you're pretty much locked to the highest tier, the Incredipass, Pass, and that's just not been on sale. Maybe it's not fully since pandemic times, but it's been a long time. Supposedly, sales for all passes will begin on April 20th, and if you are a DVC member that qualifies for membership extras, you get a week advantage starting on April 13th. DVC members are allowed to buy the second highest tier pass, the Sorcerer's Pass. This has a handful of lockout dates, pretty much just around Thanksgiving and then Christmas through New Year's, but otherwise, it's actually a very good pass. Unless you're definitely going on those holiday times, you probably don't need the Incredipass Pass, and that's significantly more expensive than the Sorcerer's Pass. So this has always been considered a really big perk of DVC membership, is access to, used to be the Gold Pass, now it's the Sorcerer's Pass, or way back in the day, I think there was just a discount for DVC, but now it's just that you can buy the second tier pass. Of course, some fine print to talk about though. In the general post, they did note that the quantity of passes may be limited, or a pass type may be limited and may become unavailable for purchase at any time. To me, this reads like it's not just that you can always buy an annual pass. They'll go on sale, then they'll come off sale until I don't know what, and then maybe they'll come back on sale again. So I think you're still kind of playing a game here. If you really, really, really want an annual pass and you've been locked out for the past couple years or so, I would just suggest buying it when they go on sale next week. But happily, the DVC Sorcerer's Pass was noted to be expected to be on sale more frequently throughout the year, even when the Sorcerer's Pass is not generally available to Florida residents. Personally, I think it's odd to lock Florida residents out of the Sorcerer's Pass, but allow DVC members to buy it, because in my head, the logic of letting DVC members buy a pass that's locked to Florida residents is you actually are a teeny tiny percentage of a Florida resident. But I know the DVC members have been complaining about this a ton, and obviously if you are new and buy in and you haven't been able to buy an annual pass and you bought in because you go 4 times a year and now you're having to buy day tickets 4 times a year, that's very frustrating. So I think this is a very smart move for them to calm down some of the DVC member complaints. Hopefully that makes the interactions between the DVC members and the cast members much better. I'm sure that they are getting yelled at for things that are way out of their control. So although I don't personally agree with the overarching logic, I think it's just better for everybody involved. Everyone will be happier. It will be smoother sailing for everyone. So hooray. It's still not like carte blanche though. To me, this doesn't read like, oh, if you're a DVC member that's eligible for membership extras, you can buy a Sorcerer's Pass whenever you want. It still does sound like to me they'll release them more often throughout the year, but it's not going to be 365 days. I for sure could be wrong. Maybe it will be generally available, but we'll have to wait and see. But again, if you really, really want that annual pass and you've been locked out of it, buy the Sorcerer's Pass starting April 13th. All right, coming back to DVC news for the Disneyland Tower. Again, we have these annual passes going on sale for Walt Disney World starting on April 13th for eligible DVC members. To me, this was a signal that they definitely were not going to release timeshare information before then, because no way would you want to have this huge flood of new DVC members that bought into the Disneyland Hotel Tower, then calling about the Sorcerer's Pass at Walt Disney World. Overall, we still really have no actual news about the Disneyland DVC Tower, at least as of right now when I'm filming midday on April 11th. I have seen rumors floating around that seem to support each other. These are coming from folks who have called into the DVC guides about the tower. And friend of the channel, Greg, left a comment on a different post with similar information. So essentially, it sounds like folks who are calling the DVC cast members, DVC guides, to either book the cash rate at the Disneyland DVC Tower or just ask about it, are being told that you will be able to convert those cash rates into points, and also that the cash bookings not most of the tower by any means, and they are expecting to have point bookings on September 28th as well. Grain of salt with anything that folks are relaying from the DVC guides on the phone, because I'm sure they're not lying. That's what they've been told to communicate, and I'm sure that the people who are reporting this information are not lying. But until stuff is written down and publicly available, to me, it's not solid word yet. It could definitely change. But yeah, it sounds like points bookings will be available for that opening time, end of September. When that will happen, who knows? We still really don't have timeshare information. Given that we're well within 7 months until that opening date now, I would expect that there will be a sort of cushion for people who buy in. For example, they will release the sales information, there'll be a week to buy or something, and then you'll get a week to book before they open it up to all other eligible DVC members. So almost for sure you'll be given some sort of home resort priority. It's just not going to be 11 months if you're trying to go pretty soon. I look forward to learning more about the actual timeshare information any day now. Let me know if I missed anything big in Disney news, especially about Disney Vacation Club. Like I said, I've been more offline than usual, so stuff definitely flew under the radar for me. With the news done, let's move into analytics. We will start with month 38, which ran from March 11th through April 10th. In month 38, there were 5 videos posted. We, of course, had the month 37 creator update. Then we had the Magic Kingdom vlog from my January trip. Next up was a Disneyland Paris transportation tips video. So basically, how do you get from the airports or Paris to Disneyland Paris? And then you can kind of just reverse it in your brain to get back. Of note, I do have a secondary channel, and on that channel, I posted just a general Paris transit tips video. So if you are going to be taking the underground metro there and you have some anxiety about how it works, what you have to do, what to buy, that video may be helpful for you. Then wrapping up this channel, we had the Epcot vlog from my January 2023 trip, as well as the Hilton Orlando Buena Vista Palace King Room tour. It has a Disney Springs view, pretty cool. Top content this month, once again, was overwhelmingly shorts. Disability Access Service video did pop in number 3 on the list still, and then we have the Bay Lake Tower room tour from my January stay in at 9, and then Old Key West versus Saratoga Springs DVC head-to-head matchup down at 10. Otherwise, the proper videos just don't get nearly as many views as the shorts, honestly. Which, I mean, it is what it is, but it also is frustrating. I've been doing this for over 3 years now, and for the most part, when I post a proper video, it will get 80 to 120 views, and that's kind of it. Some of them do go on to accumulate more views over time, like the Disability Access Service video is a prime example, or the PhotoPass video, but a lot of them really, like, they get posted, they get their 100-ish views in the month, and then nothing more. I'm not going to pretend like that's not discouraging. Obviously, these videos take a long time to put together. It's a lot of effort, and to see these, like, 10-second shorts that I put almost no effort into get 500 views right away, but these thoughtful videos get, 100 views, like, it's disappointing. But anyway, assuming I continue to post shorts regularly, I think this will kind of be what top content always looks like until the longer format videos take off, until I have way more subscribers, I guess. Like, the shorts are what's driving the number of views on the channel now. And no proper videos I posted this month made it into this top 10. So all the shorts were posted this month, but then those 3 real videos are all more than 1 month old. So yeah, the fresh content just doesn't really do that well. Sometimes it picks up steam over time, but definitely doesn't tend to hit audiences right away. In terms of views, we got about 10,500 views this month from over 8,000 unique viewers. 339 of those viewers were returning. Thanks so much for coming back. I really do appreciate you liking the video, subscribing to the channel, commenting, turning on notifications, sharing with friends. I know it's annoying, and I know it's annoying that I say that every time, but you doing that really, really helps me get promoted in the YouTube feed and find more folks. We had a tad over 450 watch hours this month. That's the second month in a row now where I've been under 500 watch hours. It's still over 400, so I mean, that's good, but it does feel like it's trending down a bit and a little low. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a little under average. And the channel had about 81,000 impressions this month, with 41.8% coming from YouTube. That's obviously a huge drop from last month, but it's still over 40%, so I'm gonna not complain too much. Overall, this month we got 43 new subscribers, which again is a pretty big drop from last month, but is not bad at all. I would guess that's still above average for the last year or so of the channel. I think we're probably averaging around 35 to 40 per month when you factor in some of the lower months. So over 40 is good with me. Over on Twitter, I am following 1,353 accounts and 1,061 are following me. And on Instagram, I am following 690 accounts and 458 are following me. For lifetime analytics, the channel now has over 187,000 views, so we're getting pretty close to 200,000, which is awesome. And we broke 13,000 watch hours lifetime. The channel is just shy of 1.95 million impressions, so by all means, we should break 2 million next month, I hope. And 34.7 of those impressions are coming from YouTube. This stat still continues to steadily grow. Finally, the channel now has 1,260 subscribers, so we broke 1,250, very exciting. I'm not super hopeful we'll break 1,300 next month, but you never know, it could happen. It's like possible. Just for some overall reflections, this month compared to last month was very bad. Every category did worse, some did way worse. However, last month was kind of an anomaly. If you ask me, it was one of my better months all time. I think we did break several records, so I'm not surprised to see these things go down. And even though these are all worse than last month, I think most of them are still around average to above average for the past year or so of the channel. And lifetime, some stats definitely are doing worse, but impressions from YouTube continues to grow, and we reached some cool milestones, or we're getting very close to other cool milestones that we should hit in the next month or 2, 3 months tops. For revenue, for just month 38, it looks like we made about $30. This is roughly $14.50 for every 1,000 ad views, or just under $7 for 1,000 views overall. And you can see once again that even though I'm now monetized in shorts, these shorts feeds ads bring in next to nothing. So it really is about proper video watches to bring in revenue for me. The lifetime revenue is now about $240, which means I should get my second YouTube paycheck in a couple weeks. I think they tend to cut them toward the end of the month once you've reached the minimum threshold. So I believe you have to have $100 to get a payout. My first payout was like $120. So now finally this month I tipped over that $100 mark and I should get a check again. And lifetime for the channel, you can see that this is basically just over $1 for every 1,000 views overall and slightly under $17 for every 1,000 ad views. For longer term goals, once again, I didn't really do anything in terms of equipment or software or upgrades. I am now way more seriously considering buying a new camera. Like I said, we were recently in Italy. I took my point and shoot camera with me, which is what I use to film. A lot of the times I film either on that or on my cell phone. And the point and shoot camera is just like having some issues. It's not super old yet. I don't think it's probably still under 3 years old, but it's like tilting weird. Like I'll hold it perfectly level and then the picture will be tilted. So some internal mechanism I think got bumped. And it's just doing really poorly in the light and the autofocus isn't good. So I was getting frustrated with it on vacation in Italy where I was just sort of taking photos and video for me, not for the channel by any means. So thinking about, whenever our next Disney trip is using that, like I think I'd be very frustrated dealing with it if I was trying to capture moments for the channel. So I'm more seriously considering buying a vlogging camera now. At the moment, I think the Sony ZV-1 is my front runner. I'm also looking at the Sony ZV-E10, but I really don't need an interchangeable lens. Like I'm not going to go out and buy a lens. I'm also looking at the Canon Mark II, but that model overall is a bunch of years old. Anyway, I need to look more into the specs and see if there's an upcoming sale or anything. You know, Memorial Day is coming up in the States, so there should be some sales, I hope. But if you have any opinions about vlogging cameras, if you have one that you use and you like, or you use and you hate it, please let me know. For upcoming content, it's a little bit wobbly. Obviously, I had very busy time at work and then I was on vacation for a while, so I'm a little bit behind. Probably before this video gets posted though, you saw our Space 220 review, and then this video, the month 38 creator update. Upcoming, we've got the Bull and Bear review. So we did a great dinner at Bull and Bear. It was ridiculous. And then our Waldorf Astoria room tour. Past that, I haven't edited anything, so I'm not too sure. But we do have some reflections from the January trip, specifically my partner and I talking about the new things we got to experience, as well as overall trip highlights and lowlights. Then based on some of that year 3 creator update engagement, we also filmed like an ideal DVC split stay video. I'm guessing those will round out month 39, but don't hold me to it. And then past that, I just want to let you know that there may be a disruption in the channel. I work really hard to make sure that I upload a proper video once a week. I've been doing it the entire time the channel's been running, except when I took 2 weeks off this past December. So when I know I have things upcoming, I just work super hard ahead of that to make sure there still will be content. That being said, this is just a super busy time for me. So I had very busy work time in March, and then we were gone on vacation. I'm about to leave again for a work trip, which I don't edit on my work computer. Like I keep my work computer very separate from this YouTube stuff. And then shortly after that work trip, I'm having a minor medical procedure done that will take me out for probably a week or so. So by the time we're through all of that, month 39 will probably be done. And I think I will be able to edit and upload for month 39 uninterrupted, but sort of that month 40 timeframe, depending on how particularly my medical procedure goes. Like if I go missing for a couple weeks, that's why. Just wanted to give everyone a heads up. But otherwise, of course, I will do my best to keep you posted on Disneyland DVC updates. When they come out, it's so much faster and easier for me to make a text post than a video. So stay tuned to the community tab on YouTube, turn on all notifications, and you should see when I post there. Also, if you follow me on Twitter, I'll definitely post there for sure, unless I'm super out of it from my medical procedure when all this gets announced. But anyway, I'll do my best. Then, of course, there's still Disneyland Paris Q&A content. If you have any questions you'd like addressed about visiting Disneyland Paris, leave those in the comments. I'm still working on putting a part 2 of Disability Access video together. I had a script done, but it tonally came out a little mean, so I'm trying to rework it. And as you know, suggestions are always welcome. Several of you left suggestions on the last video. Thank you so much. I did want to raise for the whole group though, like a lot of the ideas I get pitched are things that I haven't necessarily done. So for example, like great things to do with your kids, or what would you do on a resort stay, or your favorite non-alcoholic drinks. Like these are all things that I don't have kids, so I've not traveled with children to Disney. I've helped some of my friends like plan their trips when they're taking their kids, but I haven't tagged along. We've not done a resort only stay. It's not something I anticipate we would ever do, honestly. And like, no hate to people who do it. We're just financially in a position where if I'm going to go down to Disney World, I'm going to buy at least a day ticket. And when I'm consuming liquids, it's water, occasionally a Coca-Cola, or it's alcohol. So I'm not going to spend $5 to $7 on a fancy juice drink when I could spend $13 on that juice drink with some vodka. So, you know, I can cover these things from more of an objective, like here are your options standpoint, here's some things to think about, but I can't cover them based on my personal experiences. So I'd really love to hear what you would think about me or me and my partner doing videos where we are talking about topics that we haven't necessarily done ourselves. And generally, I've gotten a lot of questions about when our next Disney World trip is. That's not something I'm going to post broadly before it happens for safety reasons, but we are going sometime between now and the end of the year. So if you have any questions about our trip or requests for videos about the trip or reviews following the trip, feel free to always leave those in the comments down below. But yeah, if you really want to know when we have a rapport, you can direct message me. Twitter's preferred. DMs get really buried in Instagram, I found. But yeah, just so everyone knows, like we are going again to Disney World for a longer trip sometime this year. And that's all I'm willing to say in this forum. I hope you're having a really awesome start to your spring. And if you have seasonal allergies, good luck. I am definitely struggling in that area. Hopefully the next time I talk to you in this more candid, unscripted format, we will be going over information for timeshare ownership of the DVC Disneyland Tower. I'm so tired of waiting. Until then, I hope the rest of your day is magical. We'll see you real soon at Pixie Dust PhD.